and welcome. I'm coming to you from central London at a place which celebrates East India's culinary heritage called Chaurangi, and I'm very pleased to share that this round table, rectangular table conversation actually is about the all-important and the landmark deal that is being touted as one which is extremely comprehensive and clearly painstakingly has taken about to come to a signatory deal. And to discuss just that, I have with me a panel. Turns out that it's a manel. I have no woman on the panel. Let me go for my left with the introductions. Anuj Chande of Grant Thornton, and he's also the architect of the India-UK tracker, which you've been doing for years now, of businesses. Vish Acharya, who's an educator and an entrepreneur, and also has business interests in the US. Richard Heel, thank you for joining us, chair at UK IBC. Pratik Dattani of Bridge India and managing director at EPC Consultancy. And Praveen, you are an entrepreneur and CEO at Scrum Connect.
That's right.
Okay, great. Thanks so much for making it on a weekday. I know it is a hassle to get around London. And we are discussing just what we are decoding the FTA for our audience. We are trying to understand what this means for me, what it means for you, what it means for India and the UK, and with this lovely embrace that the two great economies are doing, and we know how dynamic the two economies are, what it means for the world. So let's try and get a summary of what the top headlines are, and I will stop talking. So let me go to you, Anuj.
Yes.
Give us the summary of what this FTA is, top headlines.
I think it's a record-breaking FTA, given the fact it's probably the first one that India is doing with a Western nation. It's the third largest one the largest one that the UK has done after Japan and Australia, and it's the first one post-Brexit. So in that context, it's a record-breaking deal, and I think it's apart from trade, it's also covering and has knock-on effects on other areas such as investment as well. I think in terms of the key highlights of the deal, I would say trade is obviously the most important one. 90% of UK goods will be duty-free. Yes. Going into India, and 99% going the other way from India to UK. There's going to be ability for digital transfer, data protection from both aspects. On the services side, there's increasing mobility of labour. Yes. Between the two nations, and you've also got the double contribution convention, which again allows for that 3-year social security break on both sides. Yes. of the country.
Yeah,
there's great things for the SME market. It allows UK companies to get into the public procurement market in India. So there's a lot there to be covered. But obviously the devil is in the detail, which we'll see tomorrow after it's signed.
Sure. That's already a great deal of detail, but there's a lot in the sense there's a lot of exchange of people, ideas, exports. Will that mean physically, Richard, we will see a lot of changes in the sense a lot more of made in Indias that we'll be wearing perhaps, because textile is a big part of it, and a lot of British made items on the streets of India?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I mean, I agree with Anuj that there is going to be a substantial impact. You talk about textiles, obviously that is going to, as a major import into the UK from India, we'll see that increase. In areas like pharmaceuticals as well, there will be an impact there as well. And I think that on the other side, you're looking at areas like technical machinery. We talked about the procurement, allowing procurement to take place. Obviously, bulk imports of alcohol into India is going to stimulate domestic production and technical development in that area as well. So I think, and also luxury goods, luxury cars, for instance, yes. There's going to be a cap there. So I think that we are going to see an increase in the impact of Indian imports here in the UK, and we're going to see an increase in the level of imports from the UK into India as well.
Yeah. Pratik, how is the business community viewing this? Obviously, there's a great deal of optimism, but what is the real buzz? Is there a sense that markets and making and manufacturing, all of this is going to improve, or is it more of a, yeah, fine, the headlines are looking great, but let's wait to see what it has?
Yeah, the UK figures show that bilateral trade will increase by 28 billion, but over a 10-year period. So it's not that from tomorrow we'll start benefiting, it will take some time. UK companies accessing things like the 38 billion pound public procurement market in India, that will take many, many years for that to actually come to fruition. India will still remain a difficult place for British companies to engage in that procurement process. But I think, to Richard's point, what's really exciting is with these government-to-government trade deals, quite often it just feels like something that will impact other people rather than yourself. But once you see the Made in India products here more on the high street and the Made in Britain products more in tier 2 and tier 3 cities in India, that's when it becomes real for people. And that's when the momentum really kind of starts. And that's where the textiles, the apparel, the footwear is really important, because that's where people on the UK high street will suddenly start seeing India's name much, much more.
The governance and the compliance, perhaps, which is something that India can tap into. Because we're talking so much about Washington and the US, you have business in the US, and it's a deadlock between India and the US with the trade deal not being so imminent, clearly. But what is the buzz among businesses in the US? Are they watching the deal with great enthusiasm? Is there a sense of envy at all?
Yeah, the buzz is there, definitely. And then, yes, and the word you used, envy, is also there.
Really?
Yeah. And quick thoughts which were coming up were because of this facility where there is no necessity of subsidiary to operate, in India for UK companies and vice versa. When some of them are contemplating that, yes, they could establish something in UK to get the access to India. That was one of the key point which kind of flashed, by some people.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then the broader, conclusion was this deal was sounding like a perfect one, and they have perceived that it's not just built on, some calculations, but based on trust. Because, it took quite some time to, get to this stage, and the kinds of sectors they've opened up to, and the kinds of, tariff-free things, right? Like 140% to 40% for alcohol. Yeah. It's quite some time.
Yeah, it's significant.
Significant, and then 10% tariff on things. So these things are being pursued very.
It takes trust. Yeah. Great point. It takes trust. Praveen, what changes for you as an entrepreneur?
I think there are a few points which Anuj and Pratik mentioned is access for UK SMEs to Indian procurement SMEs. So again, devil is in the details. We'll have to see what comes out, but that's a big win-win. And likewise, from India perspective, they get the visa circulations. It means easier for businesses here that we can hire people. So I think I'm personally excited, but lots of people in India, especially the Indian men, would be happy with the whiskey prices going down. So I think that's the big headline. I think the Indian people will be waiting.
Yes, can't keep whiskey out of the conversation at all, in any conversation, but particularly this one. One word.
I think ambitious and trend-setting globally.
Excellent. Great point.
I'd say future fit. It allows flexibility to develop into the future.
Okay, great.
Deal based on trust.
Trust. Great. Okay.
It's the beginning of the journey.
Okay. A beginning of the journey. Yes.
Leverage and execute fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Expedite action.
Leverage each other's
basically.
strengths and execute fast, like Richard said.
Yeah. Get what's best for each other. Thanks so much, gentlemen, for those lovely comments and sharing your mind space on the deal, on the fact that the two prime ministers are going to sit across each other on a table to share a cup of tea, discuss the fine details, and perhaps just get on to sign it. Radhika Iyer signing off from London, NDTV.